Hey guys, are you using Menuhax on your 3DS and you're tired of seeing that stupid little messed up image stuff on your screen every time you start it up? Well, apparently you can, with Menuhax 2.0 and higher, you can actually use a three-dimensional image in the background. As you see, it looks kind of holographic, showing that it's three-dimensional, but not the entire image is three-dimensional. So I'm just going to show you how to do that real quick in this video, and it's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So like I said, this post was by some gamer on GBA Temp. He was talking about that you can actually make a background image, or even a standard two-dimensional or even three-dimensional background image for your 3DS's Menuhax. Unfortunately, he didn't actually show all the details of how to do it, so I'm going to probably be trying to go over the missing information right now. Now, if you want to make a two-dimensional image, that's easy. I'll show you how to do both two-dimensional and three-dimensional. Two-dimensional is much easier, but for three-dimensional, it's a little bit harder, but it's still doable. Now, for their three-dimensional things, they always use a simple background, and that makes everything a lot easier. It's also easier if you use an image that's a background image and you make your own foreground image for it. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now using two separate images. So we're going to be making a custom Ghost in the Shell Laughing Man bootup logo. And like I said before, we're going to use a separate image for the background, so we're going to be using some matrix code. So I've already downloaded both images. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up GIMP. And we're going to feed in the matrix code for our background image. Always open up your background image first. And if you want, you can change this around a little bit before we get started. I'm going to make this blue because, you know, apparently Cyberpunk's going blue nowadays. Not necessarily nowadays, but it also matches with the Laughing Man symbol a little bit better. There we go, that's a nice shade of blue. I don't like that. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to open our foreground image as a separate image. Go File, Open, and here we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is get rid of the background here. To do that, right click, add alpha channel, then use the fuzzy select, or use the lasso to get rid of your background. All I did was select by color. I selected the background and then pressed delete. That deleted it. Now we do select all, edit, copy visible. I'm going to paste it in here. Okay, ideally you want to have it about 1/3 the size of your image. So we're going to try to scale that down a little bit. You'll see why in a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'd say ideally. If you want to keep your perspective, make sure the chain's selected. Okay, that's probably about 1/3, and you want to make it in as center as possible. You can have it a little bit over to the left or a little bit over to the right if you want to get more of the background in there, but ideally you want to have it as centered as possible. Alright, and don't click anchor down. As soon as you have it scaled down, you want to click new layer. That's super important. Alright, and for the next part, we're going to be making a border. We're going to select how much of the background we want to show on our 3DS screen. So all you gotta do is just draw a simple rectangle. You want to make sure you have at least 2/5 of the background, I guess, not in your selection. So let's say this is probably about 1/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so maybe like 2/6. But regardless, you want to have two really big chunks not included in your selection. So we'll start here. Drag the rectangle all the way down to about here and stop. It doesn't have to be even on both sides, but you just want to have a really good chunk on both sides. You see that chunk? That's ideal. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a border for this. So if you want, you can move this around, but when you get it good, just leave it. So we're going to make a new layer, transparent, select, invert, and we're going to fill this in with black. There we go. And now this is what our picture will look like. If we're doing 2D, we're pretty much halfway done, but since we're doing 3D, we got a little bit more work ahead of us. Alright, so at this point, you can make text if you want at the bottom. That's what I'm going to do to make it say now loading, just to make it seem cooler. So let's go ahead and make some white text. It says now loading. Scale it up a little bit. can change the font, all that good stuff. Okay, and if you want to give your text a background so it stands out a little bit more, that's really easy too. Few steps, right click, discard text information, right click, layer to image size, new layer, or not new layer yet, cancel. Select my color, click any letter, then new layer, transparency, select, grow, I say 10, you can make it bigger or smaller if you want. Then fill it in with black, move layer down, and boom, you got some nice bold text. Alright, you can move it under your picture if you want. I'll move the picture layer up. If you want to combine these two layers for easy moving, you can. With merge down, that combines two layers. Make sure you have the top layer selected. Again, all this is optional. This is just for customizing. Then if you want, you can move both layers at the same time with cut and paste. Alright. Once you have all the extra stuff you want done, we're going to go ahead and start making the background three-dimensional. So that's the fun part. So what we're going to do is go to this layer down here, and what we're going to, we go to the top layer first. And we're going to do select the black part, and now what we want to do is we want to make it so we only have about half the black part selected. So just do manual selection, and cut off about half to maybe a third of the black. Doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't even have to be square, you just want to make sure you have about half of it selected. About half, yeah. Alright. So once we have about half selected, we turn off that layer by clicking the eye, come down here, then we click select, invert, and then make sure this layer is selected, and press delete. That will cut off a good chunk of your selection, which is what we want to do. And when it's about half, a third is if you want a lesser effect, but I'm going to say for half for now. Alright. Now we're going to click the white part of this layer. Make sure you have this layer selected, white part of this layer. Then we'll say select, invert. Now what we're going to do is click this perspective scale, click over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to scale up on the right side 1 square, which should take us around here. So we take this corner, see this square right here? We want the bottom left of this square to be where this top square used to be. So just keep stretching it up till it's about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do the same thing with the bottom square. Top left of the bottom square, which is right here, has to be here. So scale this down to there. Alright, now we do the exact opposite with this one. Take the top left of this square, bring it down to where this one is. So about right there. Same thing with this square. Take it to around here. And it should look kind of like this. It should look like it's facing out a little bit. Then click transform. Now if you turn this back on, you can check, make sure you don't have any white gaps. You shouldn't. If you do have any white gaps, you probably scaled it too much. You'll need to scale it back a little bit, which you can do by pressing Control Z, and then just press Control Z again, and then it'll take you back to where you were, and then rescale it. But if you're good, click anchor down, turn back on this black part. Then what we're going to do, select the black layer, select the magic wand, click on the black layer, and then we're going to do select, invert, and edit, copy visible, then file, create from clipboard. Alright, since we scaled to the right this time, that means the right side is closer to us. And since the right side is closer to us, that means we want this to be the left eye. Because remember, we want the farther away section to be which eye it's for. So in this one, the farther away section, as you see, the code's smaller on the left side. So that means this is for the left eye. So try to keep this on the left side of your screen if possible, just to make it easier to remember later. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to undo this. Just hit Control Z a few times until you see this layer fill back up with the There we go. So once we hit Control Z enough, we're back to a square. So now what we want to do is we want to do the exact opposite as we did last time. So perspective tool again. Now this side is the side gets shrunken. So we bring this down to where the other square was. It was around here. Bring the same thing here. Around here. Then stretch this side. Same thing here. Stretch the top right of this square to the bottom left. Then click transform. Double check before we anchor it down, and it still fits. So we want to anchor it down. Then turn it on that layer thing again. Select it. And we're going to use the magic wand, excuse me. Select the black, and again, selection, invert, edit, copy visible, file, create from clipboard. Alright, so now we have the other side. This time the right side is farther away, so we want to keep this on the right side of our screen if possible. Now, according to the post, the total image that contains both sides is supposed to be 240 by 800 by 240, which I believe they actually put in backwards. So if you're just returning that in, if you're just coming back from the video, like you skipped the how to make it 3D part, you need to make 2 copies of your same image. So if you're making a 2-dimensional image, when you filled in the black part, let me go back to there real quick. When you put in your black border, you wanted to do select the black border, then do edit. This is only for the people who are doing 2-dimensional. Edit, select, invert. That makes it so everything in here is selected. And do edit, copy visible. Again, this is for 2-dimensional people only. Then you do edit, file, create from clipboard. So you need 2 of these. So we're working with these 2 images. You do file, create from clipboard twice, and you'll have 2 of the exact same images. That's what you're supposed to have. So that's what your 2 images will be. It doesn't matter which one's left. It doesn't matter which one's right. Alright, so for 3D people and 2D people, now we're catching up to each other. We're going to go ahead and we're going to scale these down. So like I said before, the width has to be of the entire image will be 800, and the height of the entire image will be 240. So that means our width of both of these needs to be 400, and the height needs to be 240. So for both 2D and 3D people, click Image, Scale Image, uncheck this, unlink this chain, and the width will be 400, and our height will be 240. Scale this, and now it's shrunk. Now our other image, same thing. Scale image, unlink the chain, and 400 by 240, and scale it. Alright, and now that we have both these things scaled down, we're ready to move on. Again, make sure you have them on the right sides, and we're going to do, if you're a 3D person, and we're going to do image, canvas size, and now we're going to change the width to 800. And if you press enter, you'll see a big thing appears on the right side. If this is if you're working on a left side image, make sure it's on the left. If you're working on the right side image, make sure it's on the right. If you are a 2-dimensional person, it doesn't matter. Put it wherever you want, but just one has to be on the left, the other one will have to be on the right. So once you set up your first one, you'll have a big old blank space. That's good. Now move on to the second one. And even if you're doing 2-dimensional, you have to make sure the second one is on the opposite side. So image, canvas size, 800 for width, scale. And remember, since one's on the left, the other one has to be on the right. So do resize. Alright, now so we do select, all, edit, copy. Doesn't matter which side you copy from, but you just have to copy from one side to the other. So now we go to the other side that we didn't copy from. Click new layer. Control A for select all. Control V for paste. And there we go. Now we actually have our image, and it is complete, and we're ready to load up our 3DS. See, that wasn't too hard. Only took us about 15 minutes. And both of these should be tilted. One should be tilted to the left, and one should be tilted to the right. And if you're a two-dimensional person, they should be exactly the same. So just go ahead and try it out. We're going to export this. Go ahead and take the SD card out of your 3DS. Make sure it's turned off. Alright. I'm going to click export. And let's see, where is... Here we go. Where did they say it's supposed to go? In 3DS, Menuhax. Oops. Okay. Menuhax Manager. Alright, so it's going on in this folder basically. I'm going to rename my Mega Man 1 to Image Display 2. And I'm just going to copy this folder so I don't have to navigate as much. So when you come back to here and ask you where you want to export the image to, remember not save. Save and export are two very different things. Export, you'll want to navigate to the directory, so you do like E, click on your drive. If you need to expand it, you can go here and move that over. So E and then 3DS and then blah 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 blah. Just keep on going until you end up in the Menuhax Manager folder. And inside of there, you want to create a new image. You want to save it as imagedisplay.png. The .png part is very important, so just fill this in. Imagedisplay.png inside a 3DS Menuhax Manager folder. Export it. For compression level, I say just do 1. It saves you a little bit of space. It doesn't look that much worse. And now we're good to go. Time to load up in our 3DS. And when you first load up your 3DS, it will actually not show up, which is one thing that kind of confused me about his... it's not really a tutorial. He's just giving you basic information, so that's understandable. And I keep closing it. Alright, so start the webcam. And start the 3DS. And although I have set up my 3DS already to show an image, it's still going to show my Mega Man 1, even though I just copied over my new Matrix 1. So use whatever method you need to boot into... Oh, yellow screen of death. Cool. Happens every once in a while, as you probably know. So basically what you want to do next is you want to boot into Menuhax Manager, or just Menuhax, basically the actual program. So you have to go to Homebrew Loader. Boot it up one more time. Okay, as you can see, the background looks more holographic than the foreground because that background's actually in 3-dimensional, or just 3D. Alright, so I'm going to boot into the Homebrew menu. I'm using the Cube Launcher or whatever. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we just find the Menuhax icon. And there it is. Alright, so now here comes the scary wall of text. No GUIs for you. Alright, I am not going to be able to focus this as well as I want, but there's a few different options. The first one says install. If you already have Menuhax installed, you don't need that option, of course. Second option is delete. We don't want to do that. I can't believe how glary that is. Goodness gracious. Anyway, third option is configure/check. Fourth option is configure Menuhax main screen. We want that one. So when you're at the fourth option, it says configure Menuhax main screen, press A. Then it will just give you a text saying that if you don't have an image on your SD card, it will look messed up. Press A. And then you want to go to the second option, which says custom image loaded from SD card. So press A. Then it will load an image and it will convert it. And it will say successful. And just press A again. Now if you press B a bunch of times, or press B once, it will say press start button to exit. And now we can reboot our 3DS. And it should load up Menuhax. And it should load up our custom picture too. Ta-da! It's a little bit messy, but it is certainly three-dimensional. Possibly because I didn't use a pattern. Patterns tend to look a little bit better. But it does definitely look three-dimensional. You can tell because when I moved my 3DS, it looks very jarring. If you want, you can angle it. You can go back and then when you're doing a perspective tool thing, you can angle it a little bit less each time. But personally, I like to have more of a three-dimensional effect. But with background like this, it doesn't come out very well because there's so much going on in here. But my Mega Man one with just the standard background looks just fine. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I showed you basically just how to set up the Menuhax. Oh, it crashed. Okay, it does that every once in a while. But yeah, I showed you how to start up Menuhax custom image boots, so you don't have to look at that garbled text every single time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And just to show you that I did not kill my 3DS, I'll boot it up one more time. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. There we go. We got our logo. Can you watch it in 3D or not? And no more yellow screen of death. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.